Hello there, this is Azure Every Day, and I'm Chris Seferlis, Senior Principal Architect over here at Pragmatic Works. Today, I'm excited to talk about how engineers at Microsoft were able to gain up to 9x speeds on HD Insight with Apache Spark. So those of you who are unfamiliar with Apache Spark or HD Insight, it's Microsoft's premium managed offering for running open source workloads on Azure. And you can run things like Spark, Hadoop, Hive, LLAP, and some other ones, right? And you create these clusters and you spin them up and spin them down when you're not using them. It's great. So Microsoft recently released a preview of HD Insight IO Cache, which is a transparent data caching feature that provides customers with up to 9x performance improvement for their Spark jobs. The IO cache feature is based on RubyX, which is sort of just one of several caching products in the open source space. A couple of the other big ones are Elixio and Ignite. And essentially, the differentiator for RubyX is that some of the comparable caching products are leveraging the reservation of operating memory for caching the data. RubyX, on the other hand, takes a different approach by using the SSD and eliminates the need for explicit memory management. Because the SSDs typically provide more than 1 gigabit per second of bandwidth, and they leverage operating system in-memory file cache, it gives us enough bandwidth to load big data compute processing engine like Spark, right? In turn, it allows us to run Spark optimally and handle bigger memory workloads like shuffles and overall better performance. So it speeds up these jobs that read data from remote cloud storage, which is a pretty typical architecture when we talk about big data and these big data workloads in Azure. In running benchmark tests comparing a Spark cluster with and without the IO cache running, they performed 99 SQL queries against a 1 terabyte data set and got as much as 9x performance with the IO cache turned on. So some pretty cool performance improvements, especially how Spark is already pretty performance tuned, right? So as we know, data is growing all over, and the requirement for processing that data is increasing more and more every day. And really, the idea is we want to get real-time results. We want to get faster and closer to real-time, right? We'll need to think more and more creatively about how we can improve performance in other ways than just adding hardware, right? That can be an age-old recipe for disaster, right? Let's just throw hardware at it and not actually tune it or think of a different way of improving performance. I think it's a great approach to leverage some of the existing hardware and help it run more efficiently, which is essentially what they're doing here, right? So if you're running HD Insight and want to try this around in a sandbox or test environment, it's a checkbox basically. It's off by default. You can go in, spin up your cluster, hit the checkbox to include it, and you should definitely check out this feature and see what kind of performance gains you can get with your HD Insight Spark clusters. If you are interested in big data or any kind of data or artificial intelligence or Microsoft Azure, we're playing with all this stuff, and we really love having customers and questions and the interaction to really understand what workloads customers are taking on and where we can help. So if you're interested, give us a call, click the link below, and hopefully we can catch up on the other side. Otherwise, have a great day, and thanks for listening.